wave your flag, wave your rag, wave your hand from left to right. Raise your cup, everybody know just how to jump up. PPP, take it back. PPP, take it back. PPP, take it back. PPP, take it back.
PPPC is the party for we. Watch how they call it with old PNC. What they don't know is a bigger victory. They say they will never call it, they will stay as KFC. Now they're gonna marry old PNC. PPPC is the party for we.
In 1999, when he became the president, I'd say he's a small boy, but we live to see that he placed Guyana on the map of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome to the microphone Comrade Bharrat Jagdeo.
Since 1950, we will be service of this blessed country. Not once did we flinch or abandon our beauty, no, our beauty. With those from the British and even alone. Guyana never said.
She said I should laugh, let her see. Like I'm too serious all the time. Comrades, friends, you have heard a lot about what May 11 means to us. You have heard a lot about the dangers of the future should we make the wrong decisions. You have heard about our achievements. You have heard about our plans for the future. And today, I ask each of you to reflect on what you have heard. When you go back home away from this rally, think about how far we have come. Do not allow the things that we are yet to accomplish to deter you from the course that we've set ourselves. It is important that the PPP family, all of you here from this family, that you have a clear perspective of where we are taking this country, and that you understand the challenges we face and that our country faces as we try to change this country for the better. We have walked a long road, a difficult road of change, and the tasks before us are still many. But you ask yourselves, who has remained faithful to the people of this country? And the answer can only be one answer: the People's Progressive Party. And so we come to say to you, vote for us, not only because your grandfather and grandmother and your father and mothers voted for us in the past, not because you were part of the struggle to change this country, not because we're special, but because we have used power in this country to change people's lives. And that is a continuous task, and we need to work at it in the future. So, when we win the elections, we will have to resume the development process. And I ask you, who can you trust to lead that process? How can you trust the AFC, which is now non-existent? I said at Babujan that after nomination day, there is no longer an AFC. Although they campaigned separately, there was one list of candidates that was presented to the Elections Commission on nomination day. And that candidate's list has Granger to be the president. So when you go into the polling station, if ever one of our comrades is misguided again and thinks that because AFC is on the ballot, AFC APNU, that they're voting for anything else, don't be fooled. you're voting for Granger to be the president of Guyana. Should we ever allow that to happen, comrade? Are we going to be fooled by this dual campaign? Where they're campaigning separately, but you're voting for Granger to be president of Guyana. Well, they came here once with their promises. Before the last elections, they said they will pay sugar worker 20% increase. And months after the elections were over, we went to the parliament to provide a subsidy to the sugar industry. And Greenwich said that we are putting money down a black hole. Imagine your livelihoods, the livelihoods of 16,000 people. The lifeblood of Berbice is a black hole to Carl Greenwich, and he will be the Minister of Finance in the future. And Nagamutu described it as a bailout. And in 2012, one of their members said they will shut down the sugar industry. And today, they have changed their tune once again. Can you trust these people? Can you trust them? We have outlined a careful plan for the sugar industry. We have had hard times. Imagine 36% cut in revenue. $40 million of revenue we lost per annum because the European Union cut the market. And we didn't do like Barbados or Trinidad or Tobago or St. Kitts. We didn't shut down the sugar industry because we will always support the sugar industry. We will always stand by the sugar industry. What we sought to do is to keep the jobs alive, and it has been difficult. It hasn't been an easy task. We have pumped money into the sugar industry. We promise that in the next 5 years we will spend at least $20 billion. And we said what we're going to do. We want to get production up so that unit costs will fall. We want to get to mechanize more the factory and the fields. We want to fix scale them properly and to improve all of the factories. We want to retrain workers so they can operate a mechanized industry. We have to increase the productivity of the fields. We're going to expand the revenue base, the distillery and refinery. The president came here to Berbice and he spoke about his trip to India and Modi's promise to help to finance those things. We have a clear plan, a clear vision of how we will help the sugar industry. Granger says, one word, I will not dissolve sugar. But we know that when it goes to Carl Greenwich to put money into the industry, what will happen? Because he sees this place as a black hole. For the rice farmers from Berbice, we have stood there too. We used to produce 90,000 tons in the past. We're producing close to 650,000 tons. We exported 500 tons, 500,000 tons last year to 33 countries. It's now grown from $10 million to $250 million industry. We took the Petro-Caribbean money to support the price. We spent $54 billion in the last 9 years to support DNI. This is very important. We just promised an additional price support system so that we can help the rice farmers. Here in Berbice, when we sought to bring university education so your children don't have to travel to Georgetown, guess what they said? They opposed it in Parliament too. Before I go on, they had cut the money from the budget to help the rice farmers. But they also were opposed to the Tain campus. They said we're taking university education to our supporters as though their children do not matter. Their children don't matter. We will continue to expand that. We will continue to make sure that your children have the best education in the world. Comrades, even in the health sector, when we built new facilities, we sent over 1,000 students abroad to study. Over 800 of them came back as young doctors. We have had more scholarships in the last 10 years than in the entire history of Guyana since independence. And today, many of those young doctors have come back and they're serving our people, and our plans are to ensure that we have post-grad education. But again, they cut the specialty hospital. That one that would have allowed people right here in Guyana to do heart surgery for a fraction of the cost that they have to pay overseas. Comrades, this is what the PPP is about. They complain that the tariff is too high on the bridge, but they were opposed to us building the bridge. They said the location is not right. We shouldn't put it there. The bridge is ugly. Forget about this bridge. The ferry is okay. We fulfill a promise that was made in the 1960s. We built the bridge. Today they're quibbling about the cost. That is what the PPP is about. It is about progress. We still need to do a lot of work on security. The president has outlined a couple months ago about how we need to improve security in the police for people in this region and across Guyana. The response time, when you pick up the phone and call, he said, that the phone must work. There must be accountability, that a maximum half an hour after the call is made, they have to show up. The police would have to show up or account for it, why they didn't show up. Too many times, people have picked up the phone, can't get an answer, can't get people to respond. We need to fix that too. We need to fix the national insurance scheme. We have pushed them from the government. We have pushed them to put all the people's contributions online so they can check it, sugar workers, the public servants, so that when, long before they retire, they can go online and check their contributions, so that when they retire, they don't have to wait 2-3 years to get their benefits. We need to fix that too. We need to generate more jobs in this region, not just sugar-related jobs. We plan to expand the ICT industry. But what happened? When we did that, they cut the budget. They cut the budget for 1 laptop per family. By now, we should have had almost every home with a computer. They cut it out from the budget. And then Granger now comes and says he wants to promise a computer for every school child. By now, with what we had promised in 2011, we could have had thousands of new jobs in Berbice, as we have in Georgetown, like the call center that was opened by the president a few weeks ago, Qualfund, generating some 6,000 jobs in the future. We can generate 25,000 new jobs among young people so that they don't have to travel out of this region, so that when you educate your children, they can have a job here, just here in Berbice. We spoke about so many other things here in this region. So there is a lot of work for us to continue doing. But the only party that can lead this, because we have a clear vision, is your party, the People's Progressive Party. Comrades, we are faced with at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads now, the crossroads. Listen to Granger. Granger, as most of the comrades say it here, has denied that elections were ever rigged in this country. And Nagamotu sits on the same platform, embraces this man, looks into his eyes with love, and he forgot all of our struggles, including his own. How can you trust a man like that? First of all, Nagamotu, who's betrayed principles, he's betrayed our struggle, he's betrayed the blood of those people who shed their blood for freedom in this country, the tears of many mothers whose husbands were locked up, the families that suffered so much, people who were thrown in jail because of their struggles. your parents. He's denying all of that, and he's selling all of this for a prime ministerial position. He's selling our struggle, our sacrifices, our blood for a prime ministerial position. Nagamotu, as we said in the past and people didn't believe us, we said he couldn't be trusted. He wanted to be our presidential candidate. He couldn't succeed, so he went to the AFC. They didn't succeed there, but they went to APNU. Well, let me tell you something. He's so naive, because in the last elections, when they went to decide who would be the Speaker of Parliament, Granger said, Nagamotu does not have the qualities. They proposed him, Ramjatan proposed him. Granger said, he doesn't have the qualities to be the Speaker. If he didn't have the qualities to be the Speaker, how would he have the qualities to be the Prime Minister today? And guess what they did? They put Trotman there. After he came here and he said to you that he would never deliver your support to APNU. They collaborated with APNU in the parliament to cut $80 billion from the budget, over $80 billion. $80 billion in 3 years. Do you know what that could have done for our country? We could have transformed our country much faster, fixed many more things, created more jobs, but they cut the budget. They talk about, and now he is offered a new promise to get the Prime Minister position. He said he will deliver 11% Indian votes to the PNC, as though he has transport on you, and he'll take 11% of you to do that. Are we going to allow this Nagamotu to continue to fool people? Can we trust him? Then we need to carry the message that there is no longer an AFC. There is an APNU leadership, a coalition, that Nagamotu cannot be trusted. Ramjatan has gone into hiding. You don't see him now because he's ashamed, and he said himself, had we not gone this route, there would have been no AFC. Well, they've gone in this route and say still no AFC today. So comrades, we have to look at it. Look at cost of living. Look at a simple thing like electricity. When we said we wanted to lower the price of cost of living, and many people in Berbice know what cost of living means to people here. We said we were going to build a hydro that would bring cheaper electricity to everyone. They said it's too big a debt, $2.1 billion US dollars. We pointed out there wouldn't be a single cent of debt because we were going to buy power at 10 cents per kilowatt hour when we're generating power now twice as much at 20 cents per kilowatt hour. We pointed out that in 20 years, we will save $3 billion US dollars, 600 billion Guyana dollars. And the hydro is only $850 million. They sabotage it. Today, after we pressed them, now they're saying they would build the same hydro. We lost 3 years of development, something that is so critical to people's cost of living, absolutely vital. But on the other hand, when you remember in AFC, the government had reached an agreement with APNU about eliminating electricity subsidies progressively in Linden. The same AFC stirred up trouble. They stirred up trouble in Linden, and then when Linden happened, they made an ultimatum to the president to say, remove Minister Rohi or there will be trouble. And you remember, the next day at Agriculture, that was just in the last 3 years. We don't have to go back to 28 years to understand that these people have not changed. They block people on the road at Agriculture, beat up a lot of people, stop their cars, fondled a lot of the women, stop their cars, pull them out. A lot of babies couldn't get back across to their homes from school, crying on the roadside. This is what they did just 2-3 years ago. Don't have short memory. Granger rigged his own elections in the PNC twice. His own members complained about it. They're going around today bullying businessmen to say, if you don't give us money for a campaign, we will deal with you in the future. They're tearing down our flags, etc., all around the country. Bullyism. They beat up one of our comrades in Sophia. They have not changed. They have not changed. When they link up with the military as they have done, when they come into your homes and start kicking you down, the doors down, and when they come after you, who is going to be there if the people, they're going to subvert the professionalism of the army and police, because there'll be no professional army or police if the entire executive is dominated by senior ex-policemen and ex-soldiers. There can be no professionalism as was done in the past. So there are lots of things that we have to be fearful about, and lots of things that we have to do in the future. I urge you, comrades, after we go home, think about these things. We have a clear vision for Guyana. We have a clear vision about Berbice. We understand the danger. Do not allow this crowd here, although it is massive and it must be sending shivers down their spine in Georgetown. And Nagamoto will go into a frenzy, will go crazy again, this megalomaniac. He loves talking about himself. 60% of the speech at TN was about him. How nice he is, how wonderful he is, how lovely everything is, how nice marriage he has with Granger. Silly, silly, silly. Silly. Ask him to talk about your policies in detail about sugar or rice or education or healthcare, as we can do. Ask him to talk about that. They're against everything. I can tell you 30 things they're against. Berbice Bridge, university education, a mile, the Marriott Hotel, the specialty hospital, Amerindian Development Fund, everything. I said in Essequibo yesterday, you don't change country by being against things. You can't develop a progressive policy by being against things. You have to stand for something. And we know what we stand for. We stand for freedom, we stand for progress, we stand for continuity. So comrades, be careful about the people. We expect every single one of you, you need to pledge to us to go to every home in your village, every single home, whether they voted AFC in the past or PPP. We need to go to every home. You must become the shock troops of the PPP, the activists of the party. You must be more hyped up than even Freedom House, because we need to demonstrate decisively. They're already questioning the list, although 3 years have passed and they didn't question the list. So if the victory is narrow, they may want to create violence. We are glad that President Carter is here. We invited Carter. We invited a ton of observers to come here, the Commonwealth, the OAS, because we have nothing to fear. We don't rig the elections, so we want these people to be here. But they can't block everything. You have to be vigilant. And if the victory is decisive, they will go into their corners and have to accept the results. So I count on all of you, every single one of you, to become the activists. Do not allow a single vote to be spoiled. Do not allow a single sick person to remain home. We need to fetch them out, get a proxy for them. You have to get your vehicles or your bicycles or whatever means you have to fetch our young boys, and especially need to put people on their backs and take them out with these elections, because the future of our children, the future of this country, the future of freedom is at stake. Thank you very much, Berbice. You've always been with the PPP. Thank you.
service of this blessed